So it was quarter-final stage for Zambia at the 2018 CHAN Championship. Sudan qualified to the next round of the tournament, that is the semi-final, and Zambia on their way back home. That game, which was played on Saturday, proved to be a heartbreaker for everyone sympathetic to the Zambian game, or of a Zambian persuasion, I must say. It's time for match analysis. Joining me tonight is Dennis Makinka and Vespa Janza. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Yes, quarter-final, probably not what we wanted.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zite. Just so sad that we lost the game that we expected to win, especially after the good performance, especially in the second game.
Okay. Vespa, what are your quick thoughts about that game?
Yeah, of course, Zite, thank you so much. We are Zambians, of course. We wanted our team to come back with the trophy. Of course, our coach talked about coming back with a trophy, but it failed, and a lot of people, yes, some are happy, some are not happy with the performance.
All right, so definitely time for reflection. Talking about the drawing board from a Zambian perspective, but us, we'll be going to the tactical board. So let's get into the intricacies of that game, starting off with the starting lineups that the Sudanese and the Zambians put out for that game. That was a quarterfinal game of the CHAN Championship. So here we go. Zambia in orange, playing 4-4-2. Of course, Wedson Nyirenda returned faith of the majority of the players that he started with. Well, the first-time starters in this game were number 9, Martin Piri, and number 2, John Mwengani. The rest of them had actually started games in this tournament. For Adrian Chama, it was him playing at the right-back position in place of Simon Silumba, who was suspended for this game. The Falcons of Jadino, the now Crocodiles Sudan in the red, went for a 4-3-3 formation with shirt number 8, Hashim, who turned out to be the man of the match, playing second striker but playing a deep creative midfield role, and went for a front three of Maz, Bashri, and Saif El Sadin. Now, gentlemen, right there, it was we returned faith in the tactics that we used in the first two games that got us victories. Of course, in the third game, there was a bit of a change. Lazarus Kambole playing as more of a schemer, but this time around, flat 4-4-2.
Yeah, of course, we retained the system that worked for us, especially in the first and second game. But I thought when we played the third game against Namibia, it's like everyone was, getting to know how we are playing, and they were working on us. Like Namibia, they tried to close our wingers, Augustine and Ernest. That's what even the Sudanese did. They closed our wingers. We couldn't play, and it was very difficult for the two midfielders to play against the three midfielders of Sudan.
All right, so let's just get into the tactical intricacies. Let's start off with evaluating Zambia in attack. Of course, Zambia touted to be one of the favorites at this year's tournament. Let's just evaluate their attack in this game against the Falcons. So here's what would normally happen, is that Zambia would actually have Zio Tembo and John Mwengani actually dealing with Saif El Sadin right there, the number 9. And of course, they would remain close to him even when we had possession of the ball in that situation. So Donashano Malama would play the substantive number 6 role, and you'd have Kondwani Mutonga who would veer off to either the half space on the right or on the left. Now, that came with somebody tracking him every time he made that run. And on the left-hand side, he had Faxon Kapumbu, the shirt number 20, who was being picked up as well. Shirt number 4, Adrian Chama, is also picked up as well by Maz, the shirt number 11. And of course, everyone is practically picked up there. And it also comes back to that little debate again. Right there, you needed someone probably with the affinity to come between the lines, probably try to collect the ball there. And that's one of the problems we had regards our attack, Vespa.
Of course, Zite, if you look at our attack, yes, we we started very well in the games, like the first game, the second game. Now looking at the approach for this game, which we lost Zite, you could see that we are going into attack with fear that if we make a mistake, of course, yes, they look to be good in the midfield when they correct the balls, where you find that our midfielders were sometimes like they were not in the game. Every time you could see when the coach is calling them Zite, they would even look at where the coach is trying to explain how maybe they would do maybe position themselves. Zite nowadays, I think if you look at some of the teams, the way they are playing and their system which is working to them, they are trying to penetrate, I think, using the passing game, which is not there to our team. I think most of the games you find that balls are coming from defense, maybe long balls, which is very difficult for a number 9 whom you want to control the ball, and then you want him maybe to even find space of shooting. But if a team like ours, we had a midfielder who could even correct the balls from Danoshano, who was quite okay, anchoring very well there with the defense and the midfielders, then we needed someone like someone who is a dribbler and trying maybe to penetrate, maybe using the passes, unlike we were using the long balls, which gives a striker a lot of work. You have to shield the ball, you have to make sure the defender is not near you. So for our team, I think we need more of our midfielders to do a lot.
No, I'm just thinking right there, Dennis. And we see it a lot. A lot of runners from midfield would run forward, take a default high position without the ball. Classic case, Kondone Mtonga, right there. Augustine, of course, Ernest Mbewe. And they had challenges forming lines of pass there. And right there, if maybe we could just bring it back on the screen, because this is, again, a cardinal point that we should actually share regards Zambia in attack. Look at the positioning of number 19, Zio Tembo, and number 2, John Mwengani. Right there, Donashano Malama on average doesn't have an option to retreat when the forward passing options have been closed.
Yeah, actually, if you look at that situation, look at where Chama and where Faxon is. They've all gone up, leaving Donashano behind a bit with the ball, meaning Donashano has to take that long ball. He has no one to play with. Equally, Kondwani is moved up. Zio and Mwengani, they are like marking. Meanwhile, the ball, we are in position of the ball. We're supposed to open up wide, make the pitch bigger so that we can play that game. But it wasn't happening. Everyone else was pushing up, waiting for Donashano when he has the ball to pump it up, and then they go and support. But it was not working because those guys were taller than our players. They were winning that ball, and they won most of the second balls.
Okay, now, Vesper, when you look at that situation, 2v1 against the striker without the ball, where do you stop marking?
Of course, Zita, when you have the ball, your teammates have the ball, it gives you the advantage now to maybe put a lot of energy so that at least you can move forward, using even the defenders trying to push the midfielders. I think if you've seen our players, Zite, even from the midfield, when they start playing, some will start maybe walking instead of trying to maybe create space for his colleague. Maybe like you are running, your friend is coming with the ball. Of course, you see that my friend wants to get the ball through. Maybe he's running and he has created that space. But for us, you find that our players always want to get the ball from behind. And it gives us difficulties for us to turn. Again, we start a build-up, which was very difficult. If you've seen, from our defense also, the way we were trying to move with the midfielders.
All right, so let's just have a look at Zambia's penetrated attack, because yes, we finally got into the Sudanese half, and once we got into the Sudanese half, we need to discuss what we were able to do. Okay, fine. Now, you have a situation where shed number 17 in orange, Augustine Mlenga, actually goes into the half space. The same can be said about Ernest Mbewe on the right-hand side of attack. And that positioning of Adrian Chama and Faxon Kapumbu, they've both gone up. But look at where Augustine is going, how congested it is. And because Augustine is right-footed playing on the left, he needed to make that screening run, cut inside, and probably try to get a shot or two. But right there, very difficult for him to have an impression on the game, especially when they have a 1-2 with Faxon Kapumbu.
Yeah, I think it was very difficult because the Sudanese, they were very disciplined in terms of marking. Everywhere the ball was, they had 2 to 3 players covering each other. So it was very difficult for Faxon to play with the Augustine. And all the times, I think many times that Faxon went into those areas, putting in a cross, it was not going. I just thought, no, I think it's not our day, because Faxon is very good at putting those crosses, but I think maybe about 1 or 2 landed on our strikers.
Now, and perhaps, Vespa, the fundamental question on that slide right there is probably, who is supposed to be responsible tactically to pull the Sudanese 3 out of position? How can we make that triangle big so that we find vertical and horizontal spaces in between them and actually play? More so that Kondwan would run without the ball into the half space, either on the left or on the right, but that wasn't creating the space we really craved for.
Yeah, of course, Zite, if you are losing your position, if you look at our team, tactical position, we were losing our positions. You find that even if you talk of the throw-in, you find that Dano Shano is a good throw-in taker, Zite, and Kapung. So if you put at the 2, you find that he's going to the other side where even the other colleague can take the throw-in. So you find that sometimes, how do we cover this guy, Kapung, who has gone there to maybe throw like a throw-in? You know, if you've seen the way they were trying to use his wing. Most of the attack, they were using his wing, knowing that he's an overlapping defender. And if you saw the way they were trying to close up, they were not giving him chance to maybe even make a cross, but had most of his times having throw-ins, which I think couldn't even help us. Unlike the way he does in some other games, whereby he goes to the byline and maybe make a cross. Maybe that way we could have even had a chance of maybe scoring more goals, unlike the throw-ins which we concentrated on, using the player who is coming from the other position, trying to go and get a throw-in to the other side.
All right, so we had probably opportunities galore when it came to throw-ins, because Faxon Kapumbu actually got a good number, and Adrian Chama, who was operating on the right-hand side, as always, a good throw-in taker. So let's then look at the cross map that Zambia was able to conjure up, because basically at this year's Chan Championship, Zambia played with a lot of width. Now, that's the cross map right there, and that's mainly 1-0 Tembo there, but mainly Faxon Kapumbu and Augustine. That's on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, yes, the one at the bottom bottom right of your screen, that's Adrian Chama there, and of course one cutback in the box in this game. Of course, that was Ernest Mbewe, but again, we didn't get that goal. So was there anything fundamentally wrong with our attacking plan, Dennis?
Well, we tried to use our usual plan, you know, the wing play. That's our strongest point. But for this game, I just don't think it worked. all the times that we went to the line, those crosses, they were not coming. It's either we were just crossing for crossing or something. The only time that I saw that we were dangerous on the, I think it's the cutback that Ernest made. I think that was the only one which was very dangerous, and we looked like the Zambia that I know.
All right, so perhaps that was the most dangerous moment, and we're chasing this game because the Sudanese had actually taken the lead. But let's begin to look at what the Sudanese were doing in attack and try to just balance it up. Let's look at their play-out attack. The Sudanese, the now Crocodiles, in this game that promised a semi-final place for one of them. Now, let's also evaluate one thing here. Zambia's press, you had Lazarus Kambole, shirt number 5, and Martin Piri, shirt number 9, actually pressing the two of them, and most of them, you should see the space between them, that both of them, one would go and press in one half space, the other one in the other half space. So it was basically easy for the back four of the Sudanese to actually play the ball behind them and get to that position there where, guess who? Their substantive second striker, Hashim, the shirt number 8, together with the shirt number 23, Nas Erdin, and Agla, the number 2, formed the 3 in midfield versus Kondwane Mtonga and Donashano Malama now, who are standing square. And look at the positioning of their white players. Shirt number 19 there, keeping Faxon Kapumbu busy, and of course the number 11 keeping Adrian Chama busy. Now that creates a contest in the central defensive areas, because now you need to plot it, this intelligence. He doesn't stand in the middle because it's easy for him to be marked. He actually goes to run in that half space where he makes it 1v1 with John Mwangani there. And for Zia Tembo to actually cover a central defensive partner, he needs to vacate that space and start running towards the right-hand side of the pitch, which creates space for the number 19 probably to make a run, and yes, and pull Faxon actually there. And of course, they've got that third man from midfield who can also exploit that space that's coming in the middle, Vespa. That number 9, is it that good, or John Mwangani was that bad? But that's what he was doing, Jen, in that game.
Yeah, he was. He's a good player, Zite. He's a very good number 9. And if you saw the turnings, the way he even scored that goal, it tells you, Zite, that is a good number 9. If we had players like him, who's got a heart that I can make my team win by maybe playing good football like that, Zite, I think we should work hard also that we should have one. If you look at the way he was positioning himself and the way they were coming into attack, Zite, using the midfield, because their midfield, if you saw, they were receiving the balls from their defense, not allowing them to hit the long balls, which we were doing that, and it was difficult for our players even to play because of if you look at their height, and then you play the long balls, which was difficult for our strikers. But if you saw the way they were coming into attack, you could see that they are using their midfielders collecting the balls, and their number 9, he was not even standing on the same position, but at least to move so that he can create some more space for him.
Saif Eldrin, that guy, now that positioning is so clever, and we'll just get into those details. But yes, he created a lot of problems for John Mwangani because of his positioning.
Yeah, of course. You see, it was like he was alone against 4 defenders, against the 4 Zambian defenders. But the space that he was going to occupy, he was making it to be 1v1, him against the Mwangani. If you saw even the goal that he scored, it was just easy for him. Just turned Mwangani. By the time the cover was coming, he was already facing the goalkeeper. So he was making it easy by positioning himself in the areas that Mwangani won't have any support.
All right, so in terms of cover, of course, nightmare. Let's just have a look at the goal that Sudan actually scored in this game. Let's look at the pictorial evidence in this game. Let's start off with where the move actually started, the first move right there. So right there, you actually notice one thing is that the ball is in the red circled area, and in the blue area it is Mars, the number 11 in white, and Adrian Chama there. But look at where Eldrin is, Saif Eldrin is actually looking, and look at where John Mwangani is. He was already anticipating a touch on behind Adrian Chama, and because of the height advantage there, he actually misses that one, okay? And then it actually goes into the next position that we'll see just now. That creates a lot of problems for Zambia. Of course, that's Zio Tembo there. So now, Adrian Chama, because he slips partly, he misses that duo. So look at that now. It's John Mwangeni, of course, who is trying to police him there as the ball comes there. Now, what the striker does there is, I think, immaculate. He actually turns him to the left, okay? On the left-hand side, there is no cover. If he goes to the right, there's Zio Tembo to cover. But here's the third slide. He turns and his go side, and all of a sudden, Zio Tembo is nowhere near the action to actually block that striker. Adrian Chama is in the blue circled area. Faxon Kapumbu is in the purple circle. And Donashano Malama, that's when he's arriving. He's a right-footed number 9 Vespa. So he turned you to the left and still shot with the right. But right there, if we go back to the first slide, what probably needed to happen on the first slide is that right there, you needed cover for Chama right behind him. And probably you needed Zio Tembo to actually make his run a little bit quicker, because again, commensurately, you want to look at where the Sudanese attackers are, far off from where the action is, far off. Hashim, the number 8, is just standing next to the referee, and if you look at the final slide, he's almost in the 18, and Zio hasn't arrived, and everybody. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up this conversation is John Mwangani has received a lot of attack regards that one. But number one, let us give credit to the striker. He's very clever, because if he had gone to the right, probably our cover system was going to work. But the striker went to the left, and that's where everything went loose. In terms of zonal marking and balancing, I don't know if we should blame John Mwangani a lot.
No, I think it's a collective thing. I mean, if Zio and Donashano had made it in time to go in the box and give cover to John Mwangani, I don't think it was going to happen, because Zio was anticipating that this striker would turn coming to the right, but he went to the left instead, which removed Zio out of position as well. Faxon was also very far away, including Donashano. If they had come earlier, I think they were going to provide that cover that we needed.
Zonal marking. Is John Mwangani solely to blame about that move there? That's the question.
Yeah, Zite, because if you saw the way that goal was being scored, and the way our players were standing, Kapungu, if Kapungu was the last man when that guy was hitting the ball, at least we could have at least given the boy to say he had the...
Yeah, because look at where Kapumbu is. And all of a sudden, Maz, the number 11, the one who beat Adrian Chama to that ball there, is already in the 18. Hashim is about to enter the 18. Almost. He actually outrun some of our Zambian players to get to that position. And Kapumbu there. And I'm just thinking, Zio in the red circle, he should be the one providing cover.
Yes, of course, Zite, because even if you look at that same guy who scored, if he didn't want to hit it direct, if you look at the two players trying to cover him, he could have even passed them, and maybe they could have even scored, because they were loose marked by our defenders.
Okay, so to what extent? Okay, what John Mwangani is probably responsible for in that move is he had to win his duel against Saif Eldrin. Now he turned him to the
left.
to the left. Could he have turned him to the right? How easy or difficult would it be? Let's hear from a former defender.
What if it was me there, what I would have done? Because that guy, when he received the ball,
Because do you think about that? Let me ask this question. Does a defender think about this, that if this guy takes me to the left, there's no cover for me?
Yes.
The
obviously.
team is done. So I need to take this guy to the right.
You see the way it is as a defender. It's just the same as a striker. You would first think, where am I going to take him if I receive the ball? Even a defender, you will think, okay, I'll take him this side. This is where I'm strong. You take him to your strongest point, where you know if he goes this side, I'll win. I'll make a tackle. I'll win that ball. But what Mwangeni did, he was trying to bring him back where Zio was coming from. But you know, that striker made that feint, and that guy was Mwangeni was so sure that this striker is going to this side. No wonder he lost him and he went the other side.
Vespa, how? Okay, let's talk to a former striker now. How hard or easy is it for the defender to stop the striker there? Most of that is right-footed, just like you. So
Yeah,
it goes to the left.
But on that one, it's very difficult, especially looking at where the striker was, because he was already in the 18, which is a danger zone. And for you to get the ball as a defender, you have to maybe take your time. I think which that boy tried.
Okay, so let's give credit where it's due. Great striker, poor defending. What do you see more?
No, poor defending, of course.
Poor defending or great strike?
No, great striker for me.
Defender, wagoni wako. Let's just look at, of course, we've looked at Sudan's play-out attack. Let's look at Zambia's interceptions in this game, because, of course, we've looked at both attacks for both teams and what they were able to do. Let us then evaluate what they were able to do in terms of interceptions, starting with Zambia, of course, coached by Wedson Nyirenda. Let's look at transition attack first before we get to the interception. When Sudan get to that point, we win the ball, okay? In that position where Zio Tembo has got the ball there, but look at the positioning of our midfield. Very deep. Augustine Mlenga, very deep. Number 17. Number 16, Kondwani, very deep. Number 15, Donashano, very deep. Enes, very deep. Martin and Lazarus Kambole are actually very deep. Where do we go in that situation? In terms of constructing our own attack without giving the ball back to Sudan so that they come again?
Well, looking at this game, I think this was the first time I saw Augustine and Ernest coming very, very deep when we were marking. No wonder it was very difficult for us when we win the ball, when the ball is with the Zio or Mwengani, to get the ball to Augustine or Donashano, because they were very, very close to the back line. Hence, we resorted into putting the ball up, giving it back to Sudan.
Okay. Vespa, perhaps that could have been our issue over and above. The tough team, tough opponent, they made life difficult for us.
Yeah, it's a tough team, but also we are a very tough team, which I think most of the people from that side were scared of Zambia meeting Morocco maybe in the finals. But if you look at Zambia, when we get the ball from our opponents, it was like there's something which made our players not even to hold on with the ball, try to maybe even protect it. It was difficult. You find that we get the ball, we play the long balls, which our strikers couldn't hold on to the balls. I think we need more of our players getting used of like maybe a passing game, which at least our friends had a lot of ball possession. Unlike our team, we need more of that, because we should not just be winning the game, not knowing how did we win this game, how was our system, how did it work. Because if you look at our system of late, yes, we've been using the same system, but if we've won some of these games which we've won, how was it working for us, Zite? And for now, we are still doing it. Here we are good. Sometimes in marking we get the ball, but how do we move on again, like into attack?
All right, so probably that's lesson 101. When you watch modern football today, most of the teams are able to recycle play. When they win the ball back, regardless of the position of the pitch, they're probably able to recycle play and then construct attacks after they win the ball back. Let's just have a look at the goal again, because we've got a special substitute who has joined us to help us resolve this one. Arthur Kaseloki, thank you, welcome. That is the situation where Eldin scored. But let's just take it back to the beginning position. There, one drive, and by the way, the goalkeeper collects the ball, and one drive straight from Akram, and is heading for that destination. Let's discuss the marking of Adrian Chama there. Now, Adrian is against a player that is taller than him. How do you mark it? Because if he goes to meet him 50-50, he will jump him. So is that the part he gets very close or sticks?
You know, is it when marking? It doesn't matter when if the striker is taller than you. It doesn't matter. It's the timing that matters the most. You just I think in aerial balls, the one who jumps earlier gets the ball. But with Adrian Chama, if you could see the way he went into the ball before he even went for the ball, Chama had slipped. No wonder he was beaten. But that's where all that mess started from.
All right, let's look at the next slide. The position that actually brought out the goal, where Saif Eldin actually turned, the touch on there. Now, look at the general reaction of the Zambian defenders. Yeah, as we were saying, if the striker goes to the right, it makes the distance for Zio to cover shorter. The striker goes exactly where we didn't want him to go. He goes on the left.
Again, when you see at the distance between John and Zio, there's no way we can say Zio was covering John. The distance was just too much, and there's no way a cover can be behind you. What I know, the cover has to be or the cover was in front of John. Mostly the cover has to be behind you. There was no cover. No wonder that guy got it easy to get at that point of scoring.
Okay, let's then let's now talk about the distances in terms of covering. If we can show that picture again, so that we actually just zero down on the issue of the distances. Right there, if that distance is too big, I then expect Kapumbu to be in the position where Zio is. Agreed, Coach Jansen?
Yeah, of course.
So if he's supposed to be there, who's supposed to be on the back post? Tactically, Augustine Mlenga. But he's a high up the pitch because it was a counter-attack.
Yes, Zite. The position was all in a mess because we are blaming John, but if you look at that position in the four defenders there, the distance was just too much because mostly when the way you are supposed to be, like when you are defending, you need to be like you need to keep your shape intact. That shape wasn't good enough for us to defend.
All right, so let's talk about our reflections of the tournament. So John Mwangani is a bad guy. Everyone has taken a dagger at him or thrown a dagger at him. What is your thought about him and our Chan performance generally?
You go in a tournament without a preparation. That's what it happens. Like if you remember the first game that we played against Uganda in the first half, if Uganda had taken those chances that they had, would have been skinned alive. But lucky enough, we got the goals, and the second half, a much improved game that we had. Second game we improved. The guys had confidence, but in the third game, I think we took the pedal off the gas. quarter-final was a mess. Tactically, we are very poor. If you look at the way the Sudanese played, they knew what to expect. They closed down all the spaces that we are using in other games. If you look, I never saw a Sudanese right or left back going forward. They knew that if we go forward, then we'll leave spaces for Zambia to attack, because that's where our creativity was mostly coming from. And what they did is to cover the supply, to cut off the supply of Kondwani Mutonga and Donashano Malama. Even that long ball which was usually coming from the defense was cut off.
Okay, now Vespa, I'm just thinking. He says we're lucky in the first game, got better in the second. Against Namibia, started looking serious, and yeah, we're in 6s and 7s in the fourth game. Were we that good? Let's look back and objectively analyze ourselves. Were we that good, or it was a mirage? Were we good value for being in the quarterfinal at that stage?
Yeah, looking at the way we started, Zite, I think we were the favorites of the tournament. And you know, sometimes the way you start, it also gives you confidence of the way you finish the tournament. But if you look at our team, Zite, the players and the technical bench, we also sometimes ask ourselves, are they together as a team, or because there's a time I heard one of my colleagues from that side was asking about the team not singing like the way the under 20 were singing, because one of the guys is from Sudan itself, because he was asking, why are they quiet? Have they fought with the coach or what? Because I saw the under 20 in Zambia, they were singing even when they were getting into the stadium. So there is that difference between them and the under 20. I think we should do something for our team. I think also because even in the pitch you could see that, I don't know whether they are comfortable or they are not comfortable. Zite, looking at the performance itself, we know our players. Zite, we have good players we have good dribblers, even like the way that guy scored that goal. We have such players in our team which can perform like the way their friends are performing. But we also need to I don't know whether we should find out why are we not performing like we used to perform in some games.
All right, so the phone lines are open on 256669. That's 256669. Area code is 0211 if you're calling outside the confines of the capital city. What are your thoughts about how Zambia actually played at the Chan Championship, the game that led to our ejections? Any positives, any negatives? I just was being told of a statement made by the first president, Andrew Kamanga, expressing disappointment that we hadn't made it to the semi-final, as was the minimum target set by the Football Association of Zambia.